Hello, I need someone to check on my sister and her family. I haven't heard from them in days, and I'm really worried. They live at...
On September 18, 2023, a quiet suburban street in Romeo Ville, Illinois, became the scene of an unimaginable tragedy. Behind the closed doors of a seemingly ordinary home, a horrific discovery awaited. 4 lives brutally extinguished. 2 innocent children, their parents, all gone. What could drive someone to commit such an unspeakable act? Who would want to destroy an entire family? The answers, as investigators would soon uncover, lay hidden in a web of deceit, manipulation, and a love affair gone terribly. Nathaniel Huey Jr. seemed like an ordinary man. He worked as a security guard, had a close-knit family, and was known for his quiet demeanor. But beneath the surface, there were cracks. He struggled with feelings of inadequacy, a deep-seated need for approval, and a yearning for something more in his life. Enter Hermelinda Palomo, a vibrant, confident woman who quickly became the central figure in Nathaniel's life. She offered him the validation and support he craved, becoming his rock, his confidant. But behind the facade of this loving relationship, there were whispers of trouble. Friends noticed a change in Nathaniel. He seemed withdrawn. Little did anyone know that these subtle red flags were just the tip of the iceberg. A storm was brewing. A storm that would soon engulf not only Nathaniel and Hermelinda, but an innocent family caught in the crossfire. Nathaniel's life took an unexpected turn when he met Zoraida Bertolome, a vivacious woman with a warm smile and a contagious laugh. She was everything Hermelinda wasn't. He found himself drawn to her energy, her zest for life. Their connection was instant. For Nathaniel, the affair was a whirlwind. It was an escape from the suffocating control of his relationship with Hermelinda, a chance to feel desired, appreciated. He was captivated by Zoraida's carefree spirit, her genuine affection. But it was a dangerous game, a secret that threatened to shatter his world. Inevitably, the truth came out. Hermelinda discovered the affair. But instead of the rage and accusations Nathaniel expected, she reacted with surprising composure. She expressed concern for him, painting Zoraida as a manipulative temptress who had taken advantage of his vulnerability. Hermelinda's reaction, rather than pushing Nathaniel away, drew him closer. He felt understood, protected. He had no idea that this was just the first step in a carefully orchestrated plan, a web of deception that would soon consume him entirely. Hermelinda's manipulation was subtle at first. She planted seeds of doubt about Zoraida's character, suggesting she was involved in shady dealings, that she had a hidden agenda. She shared fabricated stories, seemingly from concerned friends, warning Nathaniel about Zoraida's dangerous connection. As the weeks passed, the lies grew bolder. Hermelinda created fake online profiles, posing as Zoraida's associates, sending Nathaniel threatening messages. She even staged incidents, making it seem like he was being followed, that his life was in danger. Nathaniel, already insecure and vulnerable, fell prey to Hermelinda's manipulation. He became increasingly paranoid. Isolated from his friends and family, he saw danger lurking around every corner, believing Hermelinda was his only protector, his savior. Hermelinda, the master manipulator, fed his fears, offering him comfort and reassurance while tightening her grip on his life. She had him trapped in a web of lies, a twisted reality where she was the only one he could trust. Nathaniel, blinded by fear and manipulated by the woman he loved, was now a pawn in her deadly game. He had no idea that the real danger wasn't lurking in the shadows, but right beside him, in the arms of the woman he trusted most. The once jovial and outgoing Nathaniel became a shadow of his former self. He isolated himself from friends and family, his world shrinking to the confines of his relationship with Hermelinda. He was constantly on edge, plagued by desire and fear. He saw threats everywhere, convinced that Hermelinda, the puppetize master, fueled his paranoia with a constant stream of fabricated evidence, threatening messages, staged encounters, whispered warnings. She became his sole source of comfort and reassurance. This is a classic case of gaslighting and coercive control. The abuser systematically undermines the victim's strategy, making them doubt their own perceptions, judgment. Nathaniel's mental and emotional state deteriorated rapidly. He lost sleep, his appetite dwindled, and his once vibrant personality was replaced by fear and anxiety. He was trapped in a psychological prison, his every thought and action controlled by Hermelinda's web of lies. In cases like this, the perpetrator often becomes so consumed by the manipulated reality that they lose sight of right and wrong. They may feel justified in their actions, believing they are acting in self-defense or protecting their loved ones. This distorted sense of reality can lead to tragic. Now, the pressure on Nathaniel mounted. Hermelinda's fabricated threats became more dire, the dangers seemingly imminent. She convinced him that Zoraida and her associates were planning to harm him, that he needed to act first to protect himself and Hermelinda. Nathaniel was torn. He knew killing was wrong, but he was terrified, his mind clouded by fear and manipulation. He believed Hermelinda's lies, convinced that he had no other choice. The breaking point came when Hermelinda presented him with a fabricated ultimatum. In a moment of desperation and distorted reality, Nathaniel made a fateful decision. He would eliminate the threat, protect the woman he loved, even if it meant taking innocent lives. On the night of September 16, 2023, Nathaniel Huey Jr. entered the Bartolomei Roland home, armed with a gun and a heart filled with fear and misguided conviction. He moved through the house, his actions swift and brutal. Zoraida, Alberto, their two young sons, none were spared. The scene that greeted the police was one of unimaginable carnage. A family annihilated, their lives extinguished in a moment of senseless violence. The community was in shock, the victims' families devastated. Meanwhile, Hermelinda maintained her facade of innocence. She expressed shock and grief, offering comfort to Nathaniel, reinforcing his belief that he had done what was necessary to protect them. But the truth, like a persistent shadow, was slowly closing in. The police, meticulous in their investigation, began to uncover the cracks in Hermelinda's story, the inconsistencies that would ultimately expose her web of deceit. I know this was a heavy one, but these stories need to be told. If you're feeling it, give this video a thumbs up and share it to spread awareness. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and join our true crime community. For those of you who've been here a while, you know I appreciate you. Thanks for sticking around. The investigation into the Romeo Ville murders began in a whirlwind of confusion and chaos. The crime scene was horrific, the motive unclear. Police interviewed neighbors, friends, and family, trying to piece together the events that led to this senseless tragedy. Initially, the focus was on finding any signs of forced entry, any indication of a robbery gone wrong. But the house showed no signs of struggle, no indication of a random act of violence. The killer, it seemed, was someone the family knew, someone they had let into their home. As the investigation progressed, Nathaniel Huey Jr. emerged as a person of interest. He was the last known person to have contact with Zoraida, and his alibi was flimsy at best. Police began to delve into his life, his relationships, and his connection to the victims.
In any homicide investigation, we start by building a timeline, establishing the victims' relationships and identifying anyone who might have had a motive or opportunity to commit the crime. In this case, Nathaniel Huey Jr.
Nathaniel's initial interviews with the police were marked by nervousness and inconsistencies. He claimed to have no knowledge of the murders, but his demeanor and evasive answers raised red flags. The investigators, trained to detect deception, sensed that he was hiding something. The turning point came when investigators discovered the affair between Nathaniel and Zoraida. This revelation provided a possible motive, a connection that could explain the targeted nature of the attack. The focus of the investigation shifted, the spotlight now firmly on Nathaniel Huey Jr. Can you believe the twists and turns this case is taking? We've gone from a seemingly random act of violence to a calculated web of manipulation orchestrated by the woman Nathaniel trusted most. What do you think will happen next? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel for more shock. In the digital age, our lives leave behind a trail of data: phone records, text messages, social media activity, location data, and in the case of the Utter Habit Project, this digital trail would prove crucial in uncovering the truth. Investigators meticulously analyzed Nathaniel's phone records, uncovering a pattern of frequent communication with Zoraida. They delved into his social media activity, finding deleted messages and hidden profiles. The digital breadcrumbs were leading them deeper into a web of deceit. The breakthrough came when they discovered a series of disturbing messages on Nathaniel's phone, seemingly from Zoraida's associates, threatening him and Hermelinda. These messages, filled with violent language and ominous warnings, painted a picture of a dangerous conspiracy. But something didn't add up. The investigators, with their years of experience, sensed a pattern, a familiarity in the language and tactics used in the messages. They began to suspect that these threats weren't real, that they were part of a larger manipulation.
In today's world, technology can be weaponized. Catfishing, online harassment, and the creation of false identities are increasingly common tactics used by abusers to control and manipulate their victim.
The investigators' suspicions were confirmed when they traced the origin of the threatening messages. They didn't come from Zoraida's associates, but from a series of fake accounts created by none other than Hermelinda Palomo. The web of deceit was unraveling, and the truth was more shocking than anyone could have imagined. Armed with this new evidence, the police brought Nathaniel in for questioning. Initially, he maintained his innocence, denying any involvement in the murders, but as the investigators presented him with the undeniable proof of Hermelinda's manipulation, his facade began to crumble. Nathaniel's denials turned to confusion, then to anger and disbelief. He had been played, manipulated, used as a pawn in Hermelinda's twisted game. The realization hit him like a tidal wave, washing away the lies and revealing the horrifying truth. The police, sensing his vulnerability, pressed for a confession. Nathaniel, overwhelmed by guilt and remorse, finally broke down, admitting to the murders and revealing the full extent of Hermelinda's manipulation. But the story wasn't over yet. As the police prepared to arrest Hermelinda, she and Nathaniel made a desperate escape, fleeing their home and disappearing into the night. The manhunt was on, a race against time to bring them to justice. The couple, now fugitives, were on the run, their lives intertwined in a web of deceit and desperation. They were running from the law, from the truth, and from the consequences of their actions. The escape of Nathaniel and Hermelinda ignited a nationwide manhunt. News of the Romeo Ville murders and the subsequent flight of the suspects gripped the nation. Law enforcement agencies across multiple states joined forces, determined to bring the fugitives to justice. The couple, now branded as cop killers after a shootout in Oklahoma with pursuing officers, were desperate and unpredictable. They crisscrossed state lines, switching vehicles, relying on cash and burner phones to avoid detection. Their every move was shadowed by the relentless pursuit of law enforcement, the net closing in with each passing hour. Inside their stolen vehicle, fear and desperation mingled with a strange sense of intimacy. Nathaniel, finally free from Hermelinda's manipulation, saw her for who she truly was. Yet there was a twisted bond between them, forged in deceit and tragedy. Hermelinda, the master manipulator, now faced with the consequences of her actions, desperately tried to maintain control. She spun new tales, blaming Nathaniel for everything, painting herself as a victim. But Nathaniel, no longer blinded by her lies, saw through her facade. As the police closed in, their final destination remained unknown. Were they heading towards a hideout, seeking refuge with a distant relative? Or was this a journey with no destination, a desperate attempt to outrun the inevitable? The final act of this tragic drama unfolded on a desolate stretch of highway in Oklahoma. The couple's stolen vehicle, spotted by a police helicopter, was cornered. A tense standoff ensued, the air thick with anticipation and dread. Nathaniel and Hermelinda, trapped and with nowhere to run, made a final desperate decision. They emerged from the vehicle, guns blazing, a suicidal last stand against the overwhelming force surrounding them. The shootout was brief and chaotic. Police returned fire, and in a matter of seconds, it was over. Nathaniel and Hermelinda lay lifeless on the asphalt, their twisted journey reaching its tragic end. The news of their deaths brought a sense of closure to the community, a sense of justice served. But it also left behind a lingering sadness, a profound sense of loss for the innocent lives destroyed and the potential futures stolen. If you found this story impactful, please consider liking this video and subscribing to our channel for more true crime documentaries. Your support helps us continue to shed light on important issues and bring justice to those who have been silenced. In the aftermath of the tragedy, questions lingered. Why did Nathaniel and Hermelinda choose to end their lives in a hail of gunfire? Was it a desperate act driven by fear and a desire to escape the consequences of their action? Or was it a final act of control, a way for Hermelinda to maintain her grip on Nathaniel even in death? Did she manipulate him into a suicide pact, a twisted expression of their toxic bond?
In cases of shared suicide, it's often difficult to determine the exact motivations of each individual. There may be a complex interplay of factors, including fear, desperation, love, and a desire for control.
Some saw their deaths as an act of remorse, a final acknowledgement of the pain and suffering they had caused. Others believed it was a cowardly escape, a way to avoid facing the full weight of their crimes. The truth, like so many aspects of this tragic story, remains elusive. Nathaniel and Hermelinda took their secrets to the grave, leaving behind a legacy of pain, loss, and answered question. The Romeo Ville murders left an indelible scar on the community. The shockwaves of the tragedy reverberated through the quiet suburban streets, shattering the illusion of safety and leaving residents grappling with a profound sense of loss. The victims' families were devastated, their lives irrevocably altered. Parents who lost their children, siblings who lost their brothers, friends who lost their confidants. The pain was palpable, the grief overwhelming. Even those who knew Nathaniel and Hermelinda struggled to reconcile the image of the couple they knew with the horrific acts they committed. Friends and family grappled with feelings of guilt, confusion, and disbelief. The community came together to support the grieving families, offering condolences, organizing fundraisers, and providing a shoulder to cry on. But the scars of the tragedy ran deep, a reminder of the fragility of life and the darkness that can lurk beneath the surface of seemingly ordinary lives. The Romeo Ville murders serve as a stark reminder of the dangers of online manipulation and the devastating consequences of unchecked deception. In today's interconnected world where technology plays an increasingly prominent role in our lives, it's crucial to be vigilant and critical. We must learn to recognize the red flags of manipulation and abuse, the subtle control, the isolation, the erosion of self-esteem. We must teach our children about online safety, critical thinking, and healthy communication.
Healthy relationships are built on trust, respect, and open communication. It's important to recognize the signs of unhealthy patterns and seek help if you or someone you know is experiencing abuse or manipulation.
If you or someone you know is experiencing abuse, please reach out for help. There are resources available, people who care, and a path towards healing and recovery. The Romeo Ville tragedy is a stark reminder of the importance of awareness, critical thinking, and healthy communication in our relationships. If this story has resonated with you, please share it with your friends and family. Let's start a conversation about online safety, manipulation, and how we can all work together to prevent such tragedies from happening again. And if you'd like to explore deeper into the psychology of manipulation and true crime, be sure to check out my other videos. Thank you for watching, and remember, you're never alone. The story of the Romeo Ville murders is a tragedy, a cautionary tale of love, betrayal, and the devastating consequences of unchecked manipulation. But it's also a story of resilience, of a community coming together to heal and support those who lost so much. Let us remember the victims, honor their memory, and work towards a world where such tragedies are prevented. While let us be vigilant, compassionate, and supportive, ensuring that no one suffers in silence. May the Bartolomei Roland family rest in peace. I know this was a heavy one, but these stories need to be told. If you're feeling it, give this video a thumbs up and share it to spread awareness. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and join our true crime community. For those of you who've been here a while, you know I appreciate you. Thanks for sticking around.